Okay, what it do?
What it does.
You right? You
I am
good?
doing great. How are you?
I'm awesome, man. Hey, what's up? What's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast, episode 2. You with me, Kaxi on the beat, and
Veronica. And most importantly, welcome back to a new year. Okay, not
like,
back.
right.
Can be back because it's the
not-
first time we've been in
Unless you've been here before.
2022. I haven't.
Are you sure? You sounded so like, oh, welcome back, guys. Like, what? Okay, easy. No
It did
beef.
made sense in my mind.
Great. So, like, yeah, happy new year and everything, guys. 2022, a new year, a new chapter, new resolutions. Yeah, Veronica, how are you feeling?
Okay, so I don't really see I don't see dates and years. I don't see them as like a fresh start necessarily. I work more like in terms of momentum.
Right.
So it just so happens there's a lot of momentum right into the new year. But I think that also like comes with a lot of intentionality on my end. But
you intend so much not to, wait, come again. Let me understand.
yeah, I think in the sense that I made it a point to reflect and come up with plans, and that creates momentum. It just so happens to coincide with a new year.
Right.
But I don't necessarily think anything special happens like on a specific date.
You don't reset, like your mind doesn't reset or anything. Like you don't.
It did this year.
Really?
Yeah.
I just see growth. I just call it growth. I wouldn't really have. I'm not the New Year's resolution guy. I'm just the guy who's building on my last year, building on my next year, and yeah, that's kind of how it's like been for me. Just building off my previous experiences. I don't tell myself, "Oh, you have to do this now because you didn't do this last year." So yeah, it's kind of how it is for me. Just give me a sec. I'm trying to do this mic nicely.
Do your thing.
Otherwise, like, what are you feeling hopeful about, or what are you looking forward to this year?
Firstly, let me just start with what I'm grateful for from last year, which, by the way, was yesterday.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy, yeah?
It sounds like,
Yeah.
Right.
I think definitely there were some painful moments for me last year.
Right.
At least like 3 huge ones for me. Maybe even landmarks in my life to some extent, at least thus far.
Yeah.
But I think there's also been a lot of fruitfulness,
Right.
which I'm grateful for. A lot of new beginnings and a lot of what I would call like results of alignment. Like, yeah, when you get into that space of right place, right time, and you start making connections and things start making sense.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the energy I left 2021 with.
Okay.
What I'm hopeful about, to answer your question, this year, I would say is I think I reached a point where I feel like I've experimented enough, and now I'm at a point where I'm like, yeah, these 5 things, I'm running with these.
Definitely.
Nothing else.
More focus.
Yeah. So much focus.
Definitely.
Clarity. And I feel like I have support, which is great. Yeah.
That's intense, and I'm
Yeah.
happy for you because
Thank you.
It's always good to learn from others, You teach me a lot,
Yeah.
like,
Likewise. Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, this year I think focus is a very important thing because, we're growing older. We're growing older, and like, I guess as youth, we like to be all over the place, right? We're here, we're there, just depending on what's stimulating our motivation. You want to do everything, but like less is more, like just find your area of passion, and I think that's where true greatness, or people, we achieve things when we really focus intensely with all the intent, So if I could ask, like, what do you think your alignment is telling you to, be more into?
I want to answer that, but something you said prompted me to share.
Tell me
something.
What?
So I'm big on YouTube. You know how people read? I love YouTube. I love,
shit.
Yeah, because I feel like you get, okay, number one, there's only so many people you can talk to in life. and even the people you talk to, not everyone's gonna open up their lives to you.
100%.
But YouTube happens to be a platform where if you're like obviously you kind of have to sift through what's worth listening to, what's not. But I feel like getting to learn from people without you making those mistakes is such a gift that I think this generation has experienced to a degree that has never been experienced
Learning
before.
from others' mistakes.
Yeah,
definitely.
Like I don't have to do this because now I've learned from you doing this.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know how they say, if I've seen farts because of standing on the shoulders of giants, that's how I would sum up. Anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense, you know, because like, I mean, experience is the greatest teacher, yeah? And so,
yeah.
first of all, you're going to explain your areas of focus.
Yes. Okay, it's a really long story. Not really long. It's actually a very short story.
Like, we have all the time in the world.
No, we actually have quite limited time, seeing as at some point. Anyway.
You have limited time.
Let's not even go there. Like, it's too early to go into that philosophy. This actually was, I think, 2 days ago. I was watching like morning routines, because that's one of the things I was like, okay, I need to figure out my mornings and nights, because my sleep sucks. My sleep pattern sucks. And I'm trying to troubleshoot. It's either when I'm sleeping, before I sleep, or after I sleep. There's a problem somewhere.
Right.
So I was kind of trying to learn from other people. What do people do? And I was learning, like, I don't know, just like different people, but the specific video I was watching happened to be like a millionaire. She's like my age.
Right.
And so my mom walks by and she chuckles, and I'm like, what's so funny, mom? And she's like, you know, this reminds me of this time when I was in college. And, you know, this one friend of mine was like trying to learn about other people's routines. And then one day she said, you know, I've spent so much time learning from other people's routines that I don't even know, like basically, like I don't even know who's me anymore, because I've spent so much time learning
trying
other
to see
people.
other people's routine. Yeah.
You
definitely get lost, eh?
Yeah. So going back
That's your mom telling you that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I felt really lucky in that moment, just for her saying that, because I feel like it stopped me from going a rabbit hole. I still watched the video, but I think what it taught me is like, taking the information, but you have to come to a place of knowing yourself so well to know why you're doing what you're doing. Like, okay, cool. You want to wake up at 5 a.m.? Why? Don't do it just because someone said waking up at 5 a.m. is special,
definitely.
You know? So for me, my areas, things I've always known from a kid, I always knew I love music. Art happens to be something I'm good at, and I feel like it's something that blesses people.
Definitely.
There we go. And the last thing, film. I think I mentioned this in the last podcast.
Yeah, we talked about this. Fam.
Film, art, music. And then film, from a young age, I was obsessed with TV. I would watch so much TV.
Right.
And it's shapes how you see the world. And I was like, I want my perspective to be in there, because we get to shape how people see
the world,
society, how people reason. So those are the three things, and those are my whys. Yeah, but I'm curious to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, I love that, you know. Art is something, because the film and the music are art themselves.
Yeah.
But you add the visual art, which is the painting, you know. So it's everything.
Yeah.
Everything is art, even though it's called film, but it's gonna be art at the end of the day, because the medium, you know, you basically, what can I say this? You're an expression. Your being is like trying to communicate.
Yeah.
And so what mediums do you choose?
Yeah.
Film, the painting, and the music. You know, that's how we decide to communicate. And it's so dope that you want to focus on just communicating what your soul is telling you. Or it's so dope, you know. It's like you've just decided that you're gonna channel your energy through this. People channel the energies through different things. Football is a way of channeling energy.
Science,
so anything that you concentrate on is you communicating to the world. You creating a painkiller is you communicating to the world. You creating a symphony, it's all communication. So man, those are like really strong points of communication, you know, because they're like the loudest. They change the most in the world right now, because film, you already know what it's done to society. They're
feeling based.
You know, art has been around, music and art have been around for a while, but video changed the game. because it put both together.
Yeah.
And it's insane what the world has gone through since the invention of television. I'll tell you this. It took about, say, maybe 100 years for the book to be a common thing. A book. Like, oh, this is a book. Everybody knows what a book is. It took a while before the telephone became a common thing. At least it was 60 years, if I remember right. And then TV came. It took 40 years for everybody at least to...
Yeah.
After that, everything that happened took less time because of how fast TV spreads, you know. So there's power in the television. Like when you see it, it's like you're telling a vision. It's weird how they call it television. But like you're showing the guys, you're like telling, you get it. And depending on how souped up your production is, the more intense the you know, the reception. I wish we got this on camera. Her mouth is wide open.
I am shook. No, that's powerful.
Straight up. So I'm just saying, like, I feel you. Like, go for it. You know, let's do it. As for me, I guess I'm just like the course of action has always been there, you know. Passive income. I'm glad we both have a mutual, you know, goal. Passive income, number one, and my art. You know, I know I love to do different forms of things, you know, content in general. So even like as much as I'm a business head, I know the art supersedes my love for business. You know, the business just kind of helps, I guess, or it's just that part of me that has to go with the music or, you know, the rest of the art. So I know I'm going to be definitely more focused on earning that passive income, you know, some crypto, some miners, maybe if I get lucky, we you know, these channels that we're creating here are supposed to, you know, just be a long-term plan of just ensuring that we have stuff to do and if we're successful, we get the passive income, you know. So that's pretty much what I'm feeling like is going to be my motivation this year. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Yeah.
What is something you did last year that you hope to not do this year? One thing.
Putting out my work personally, individually. I'm always trying to put out other people's work and I don't really do my own work. Yeah. I put out work last year. I put out my own beats finally because the year before that I wasn't doing that. And so last year I actually put out beats, like almost like maybe 35, 36 beats on YouTube. And that helped so much because, you know, I went from 0 to 337 subs in a year. Wow. And I wasn't pushing like that. I was just making beats. But now I might just do a single, you know. I'm not telling my right hand what my left hand is doing, but I'm like, I want to do it. You know that thing where they say, don't tell your plans? You know? Yeah. So... the fact that I've told you, I'm just like, okay, you've already told your right hand what your left hand is doing, but we're going to do it. Hopefully this makes me commit to what I'm saying. So it's powerful that, so I want to do a single maybe, you know, release a song and just push it and tell guys this is what it is, even if it's one song. Yeah.
Singing, rapping?
I thought you were going to do the singing for me.
Oh, okay. This just really developed.
I might not rap. I was just going to be on my David Guetta shit. Oh. You're going to be my Sia and I'm going to be David Guetta and you're just going to sing to me. Anyway.
Let me know when. By the way, to you guys who are listening, Kaxi is an amazing producer. I don't know if anyone has told you this before, but I feel like you also have a gift for, I don't know if the word is intuition or vision, but I feel like you see things in people that they may not see, and it goes a long way. It really does, because like you bring out something in the artist to come to the booth. Like, sure, they can come with their own confidence, their own gift, whatever, skills. Yeah. But like sometimes you need someone to pull something out of you that you can't do yourself, and I feel like you do that. Yeah. So
that's what Teo was saying yesterday. You know, I was with Teo in studio yesterday. Oh my days, this is for you actually because you asked me how it went and everything. So let's talk about it. I was with Teo in
tell
studio.
Me. Yes.
Like Mikey Mutoni pulled up to the studio with Teo Tripper and I'm like, wow, two of Kamula guys are out here. Yo. It's crazy.
Boom.
And it was
the
just...
day before New Year. Like,
the day before, like, what a way to cross over.
Oh my gosh.
And now he's like, we should chill and we should produce. You know what I'm saying? And I was telling you, I'm trying to get a mentor. I'm trying to get someone to like... Yeah. And he just came and I didn't even have to ask him. He's just telling me, bro, this is what we're doing. Yeah. I'm like, dude, what? he just came and he's seeing. I was showing him a few mixes.
Yeah.
And he's just like, dude, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Da. So yeah,
Amazing,
I was
yeah.
with him. I've kind of forgot what we were talking about.
Yeah.
The excitement of Teo coming and everything is just kind of.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, he came through and, you know, he was just a vibe, you know. He's telling me how he processes his music and everything. And like, what? Meeting him yesterday really felt special, you know. You think people you see on TV or celebrities, the guys you call celebrities, you feel like they have that aura when they're in the room, like they're gonna be but nah, it's completely opposite with this guy. Like,
in what sense?
He is more giving in terms of knowledge than one would expect.
Yeah.
You know, he's just trying to tell you something. Like he's trying to teach you.
He's
and
generous.
If you're open, he's good. You're gonna get it.
Yeah.
And he's got vibes, you know. So yeah, like what a way to cross into the year, you know. I really hope we do get in studio because he freestyled to like 10 of my beats.
Damn. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a good way to get into the year, I guess. You know?
Can I say something? Again, I feel
First
like
of all, I should say thank you for, you know, saying that.
The compliment.
Yeah, that big ass compliment, which I completely overlooked. But I remembered that you compliment. So thank you for saying all those things. Yeah.
You're very welcome. I was also going to say something which applies to you, but I think it also is just like a general rule of life that I'm learning now. And it's hard because it takes faith. But you put in the work. You really do. If there's someone who's like in studio several hours, just dedicated to the craft, love of the work, attention to detail, all of that, it's you. And I think all of this is to say, like, in life, like, there's a certain readiness you have to meet.
Yeah.
Because you're not the only person who's met Teo.
Yeah.
Someone crossed paths with him but led to nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
But there's a certain person you have to become to where when you meet someone, something happens.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying it kind of like takes faith too. And like an area in my life that I'm not happy with is like I love music, but I don't put like the daily and like intentional practice, you know? And so an opportunity could come, but I wouldn't be ready and I wouldn't even know it was an opportunity.
Definitely. I hear that. And I'm not saying I've suffered from it, but I have to be patient with myself, you know? When the hits happen, not hits, but like when the music happened with like the previous guys I used to work with, you know, like I was subconsciously prepared. I was just dropping beats in my studio, in my room. And then when guys pull up, they're actually the beats. Now it's a bit more different because it's ironic. It's very ironic what's happening now. I want to do what I was doing then, but it's not happening the same way. So the patience has to come.
Yeah.
You know, but the work has to be put in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, were you about to say something?
I was about to say something about Gary V. Gary V put out tons of content.
Yeah.
Before anything ever amounted to anything. So there's that patience. You know, just keep doing it. Keep doing it. You know, until you feel like, oh shit, why did you even do this, and just keep going. Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's the idealist and opportunist. Do you know about the idealist and the opportunist? Ever heard of that? The two. There's an idealist and there's an opportunist. The idealist comes up with the idea and the opportunist pushes. Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison. Are you following
Say
what I'm
more?
saying? So you have people who can be consistent and push. And then you have guys who just, hey, I got this idea. You know, it's not saying this guy with the idea is whack for not being able to push and be consistent, but his nature is the ideas. The opportunist doesn't really come up with ideas, but when he finds an opportunity, he's gonna.
Do you know what you're describing? Have you read a book called Who Moved My Cheese? Read it. It's a really short read.
Okay.
Not to say that you're not a reader or anything like that. I'm just saying for non listening.
Is there an audiobook?
Dang.
Okay.
Possibly. I've never checked.
We'll make one.
Okay, so I wish I could like just quickly Google, but that's going to take time. I can see my phone, but I like the way I'm
What do you
sitting.
wanna Google?
Just like the names.
A
Okay.
quote. Okay.
No. Actually, I'll just say off the top of my head what I remember. But there's basically 4 characters. The 2 main ones. One is called Scurry. And the first one I forgot. So basically what happens is there are 2 rats or mice. Let's call them mice. I feel like mice are more appealing than rats, because rats make me think of like those ones in New
Sewers or
York
stuff
that like
like that.
can strangle you, rob you.
Fat ones.
Yeah.
Are they that big? Dog.
That's what they remind me of.
Let's say mice. I'm a rodent.
Mice. Let's go with mice. So they're eating cheese and they're like, life is good. Then one day, like the cheese is gone. And they're like, who moved my cheese? That's where the name of the book comes from. And
These
so
are human beings who are eating cheese and then they move, or the rats are eating cheese.
Those are mice.
They're eating the cheese.
They're eating cheese and
then,
the cheese is moved for whatever reason. Maybe it's a bakery and now the bakery decides to shut down. But in the mice's world, this was our cheese. Someone moved it. You've like messed up with this really great situation we're in. I was gonna take my wife to a cruise, but anyway, that's irrelevant.
Tell me about the opportunist and idealism in this book.
So I don't know why I went through that.
No, there's either the characters or the mice are 2 different people, and
they decide, okay, there are 4 main characters. One of them just like rambles about how unfair life is, how it sucks that they can't have cheese
Sounding
anymore.
like Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, the other one just freezes, doesn't do anything. Then the 2 main ones, one of them has great ideas and is like, okay, we're gonna go down this way, we're gonna go
What's
left.
Winnie Pooh's small friend?
Piglet. Yeah.
That sounds like Piglet.
So the first one is a visionary, which I think is that the opportunist?
Idealist.
Oh, idealist. So he's like, this is what we're gonna do. This is my plan, and then we're gonna write on this wall. So if we get lost, we'll remember. Hey, we passed this wall. Yes. Sure. And
the
then
other one?
Scurry has a gift of speed. He makes things happen.
Right.
So person A, mouse A comes up with the idea, mouse B has a gift of speed, so he can go ahead of him, acts on it, makes it happen, and so basically that's how they work together. Yeah.
Let me ask you, what came first, the egg or the chicken?
I believe God created animals and not eggs, so I would go with the chicken.
So both, right?
Yeah, I believe
not both.
No,
chicken.
The chicken, and I believe God creates systems that can self-sustain. So like rain waters plants and plants grow. The wind blows pollen and then the trees multiply, plants multiply.
So the idealist is like, okay, so we need both basically. Like I was trying to put a similarity with the egg and the chicken, because it's usually like, like if you ask an atheist that, it's like, dude, evolution or something, you know? But I get your route because that's what I believe too. God created it.
Animals,
but like the idealist and the opportunist is usually a debate, you know?
Yeah.
Because the idealist did think of it, but he didn't do it, so he will never be like, come on, what?
Yeah.
But if you think about it, it's like the egg, you know? Without the egg, the chicken won't be there. Then again, without the chicken, the egg can't be there. So you do need both the idealist and the opportunist, if you get what I'm saying.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which one do you think you fall more under? Idealist or opportunist? Okay.
I've been an idealist for a long time.
Okay.
You know, and now it's better. I just shift the frequency. I just try to do both because, it might just help or something.
Okay.
You want to hear another interesting question?
Yes.
Actually, I just want to hear from you. Last time we asked about Jesus Christ, yeah?
Yeah.
Now she feels a Christian.
Yeah.
You know? What I want to ask you now is tell me about his life, like from after, like, what was his childhood like growing up? Do you know anything?
I think he was lactose intolerant. I'm just kidding.
Allergic to cheese.
JK.
He's a carpenter. He had to eat all that shit. He was a carpenter, right?
Yeah.
Why was he a carpenter?
Why? Okay.
And he knew he was the son of God.
let me preface by saying I don't know as much as about the Bible as other people might.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I can share my current understanding and beliefs. Do you want me to explain from birth or just like childhood?
No, the carpenter part.
That was his profession. His time hadn't come yet to.
But everybody knew.
No.
Okay, not everybody.
Like, remember
Because
his
last
first
time
miracle?
I asked you,
His first miracle was at that wedding. So his close family knew.
So obviously, okay, they knew that he was the one.
Okay.
I baited you into this question because I still believe he didn't know or nobody knew. Like, okay, the wise man kind of knew. But I'm just like, man, this guy was a man, like a regular man, you know? Like, that's what I lean on so much.
Okay.
Because if he was able to become a carpenter, I mean, the Bible likes to highlight all the highlights. They give you the highlights. But we need to know about the lowlights. You know, we need to know the dark, what we don't know about him. That's where it really matters, not the highlights of, oh yeah, he did this here and that. We need to know him as a carpenter. Like, that whole phase is more important, you know. Not more important, is quite, you know, significantly worth knowing. Like, as a carpenter, you know, as a carpenter, man. Like, he went home, he came to work, he went home, he came to work.
Yeah.
The Bible just gives you the highlights. And doesn't really tell you much about his carpenter dealings. It's not supposed to. It's just me telling you, I'm like, I'm so intrigued in like understanding that this man was just a man. He was a carpenter. He was there shaving woods, doing all that stuff. I'm like, wow. And he changed the world afterwards?
Yeah.
Wow. That's where my intrigue comes. So I really, that is a regular man thing to do. He had to make a living.
Yeah.
That is a regular man thing to do. That's why I'm like, yo, we gotta ask the questions in the gray area. What we don't want to, you know, all those gray area things matter, you know.
To comment on that, I'm curious to understand what you would like to know. Not that I have the answer, I'm just curious. But what I do know about his life. Okay, so firstly, we know his first miracle was at that wedding. And
when he turned the water into wine.
Yeah. And he didn't want to.
But that's before he walked on water, right?
Before anything. That was his first miracle. So he was a carpenter up to that point. But his mom said, Jesus.
Do we know when he separated himself? When he went to the wilderness to... Was it before or after?
After the miracle.
He went to the wilderness after the miracle or before the miracle?
After.
40 days and 40 nights?
Yeah.
After the miracle.
Okay, I don't properly remember, but that's what I believe. I could be wrong. Let me just say I don't know.
He did fast for 40 days and 40 nights, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So anyway, going back to the wedding scenario.
Yeah.
His mom is like, why don't you, I don't remember I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly the words, no, the exact scenario.
Yeah.
But essentially she's like, why don't you turn this water into wine? Like, we've seen you do this before. And he's like, woman, I don't want to do this. I don't remember exactly the words. But the whole reason I'm bringing this up is because she saw like the level he was operating in private, but it wasn't his time yet, right?
Yeah.
And so he's trying to keep that under wraps. And then he's like, you know what? There's a need here. I'm gonna do it. And then another reason I believe that he knew what his calling was.
Yeah.
Is even his neighbors and some like people who knew him, they didn't think he was a son of God.
Exactly.
And that's why he said a prophet is without honor in his own town.
Yes.
Because he could do miracles everywhere else, but in his hometown, they're like, who do you think you are?
Yeah,
you know what
you're
I mean?
one of us, man.
Yeah, like, are you really? Or you're Jesus? Or you're the son of God? Because I remember last week,
right? Also, to me, I'm like, the way I imagine Joseph would treat Jesus is like, yo, it's my kid, man. I don't know what you're telling me about what. This boy better shave those wood. Like, he better do his job. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just like, he was just a dad to this guy, you know? Then again, it's just my introspection of how I see it, how I think it. But I have to probably get deeper into... I might actually have to look for a book that kind of details Jesus' life, if there's one out there, you know?
Yeah. I don't know.
The fact that he had a carpentry career is just like, wow. he had to make a living. That's what I think we don't see, that Jesus had to make a living.
Yeah.
You know, that part of him being a carpenter means he had to make a living. Just briefly, maybe. And then when he opened up and ascended and achieved his enlightenment, his cause was greater than making a living. His cause became greater than surviving. He knew, it's not for me. Let me just, like, there's a part where it says, if the birds can eat, what about you? Right? Somewhere in the Bible.
If I
feed the birds.
Let me use this song. If he watches over the sparrows, how much more?
How much more you?
Yeah.
So I felt like he eventually became not carefree, but he knew, I don't have to make a living anymore. I just have to feed the people the word and the kingdom of God, and that's enough for him. You know. Amma, you think he was still hustling when he was doing miracles and stuff?
I don't think Jesus had to work. I think he chose to work.
Right.
And the reason I say that is there was this time...
he had to work, regular man stuff.
No, I believe he chose to work.
He chose, okay.
He didn't have to.
He didn't have
because
to.
He had the power. And I believe he didn't lack anything. And the reason I say this, remember that time, okay, there's this scenario for anyone who maybe is new to scripture, so I'm just gonna say it. But there's this time when, you know, like, I don't know where they were, but like they felt like some kind of opposition because of like, do you pay taxes, blah 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 blah. And so, you know, Jesus is like being, I don't know what is it called when diplomatic, and he's like, okay, let's do this. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, give to God what belongs to God. And I don't know if it's that same time, he gets a coin out of a fish's mouth and pays the taxes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
In other words, he didn't lack for methods of getting stuff.
Yeah.
If he can get a coin from a fish's mouth, he can provide anything he needs.
Definitely.
But he chose to humble himself and live as a man would. You know what I mean? Because when you think about it, if he's doing all those miracles, he could probably build a car at that time. There's so many things he could have chosen to do. The time he walked on water, bro, I could choose for a cow to do my chores,
right.
you know?
Anything.
But that's the humility aspect. And I believe he was a carpenter out of humility, not out of necessity.
Right.
Just my belief.
Yeah, that makes sense too, you know. In that perspective, because like I love perspective. It's always good to see what we're all seeing and what we're looking at, you know. So it's good to understand that. But at least you kind of get why I ask my questions in the way that I do, you know.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah. Otherwise, we'll have to keep that one for the next.
Yeah, I kind of like how this is going.
For
actually,
the next.
I like this slow unfolding process. I think it's interesting.
But like, maybe on a final point, what do you think Africans or our people should gravitate towards in this? Yes, it's a new year, but like, what do we need to gravitate towards truly as people? Like,
to meet what goal? That's my first question.
You tell me. What goals should people be meeting?
You know, I'm always a fan of take what someone else did and make it better.
Innovation.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think there's a tendency to look to what like developed countries are doing and being like, let's emulate that exactly as it is.
Copy and paste.
Copy and pasting.
Okay. So
some people are talented at copy and pasting.
You don't say. You mean Drake, like Drake on how he copied Soulja Boy? Tell me.
Drake?
Was really good. Yeah, he copied so come on, you know what I'm talking about.
You're talking about the man that bought Pusha T?
You know what I'm talking about.
The guy that wasn't hiding his kid from the world, but the world from his kid?
You know what I'm saying?
Drake? Man, y'all better stop playing.
Facts, you know. But yeah, the copy and pasting thing, Africa, what do we do?
Yeah, where would I start?
Where is the authenticity in that if we copy and paste?
Even beyond authenticity, I think we could copy and succeed, But I think if we copy and succeed, we'd have the same problems they have too. But
Yeah.
we're trying to avoid having the problems they have, which for me is like destruction of environment.
Yeah.
I think even destruction of souls. I think
Yes.
I'm
culture.
not. Yeah.
is the soul
yes.
of
Yes.
humanity.
Yes. Yes. And I'm not even against like capitalism.
Right.
Like I love clothes and stuff.
Right.
But I think there's also a sense of death that comes to people when you're living so much to an image or aspiring so much to something
Definitely.
that your soul suffers. And I was thinking about it the other day, and I was just looking at, I think, like South Africans dancing to Amapiano.
Yes.
And I'm like, wow.
The
like,
soul,
that
you know?
just came from their soul. And
South
that'd be a
Africans are
sad
good
thing to
at
lose.
fusing cultures. You know?
Yeah.
Even their flag, it represents the fusion, the rainbow.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
They're really good at it. Kwaito, I don't know where the reference,
Yeah.
but best believe there's a point where there's a point of stimulation or motive somewhere where that sound has to.
Yeah.
They're really good at it. They're geniuses, you know. So Nigerians too picked it up.
Yeah.
You know, the Afro music that P Square was doing and the Afro music Davido is doing.
P Square, I forgot about them.
Yes, you know that those were the guys who pushed Nigeria into music like that. You know,
this is true.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a great podcast. We might just have to cut it. You know, it's so seamless and we could go on and on, but I'd like to preserve our convo for like the next time. I want to tell you about the Gospel of Thomas. Like, have you read that book?
No, I have not.
Yeah, it's just one of those manuscripts that people say, oh, it never made it into the Bible. And I see why. The way it's written is not really like a normal Bible book is written. It's just verses of what Jesus said. Literally it's like 40 or 50 verses. It's just what Jesus is saying.
Okay.
So so happy to have you here today, man. Like, thank you so much for coming.
I was happy to be here.
You know, thank you so much.
Yeah. Great. Well, you guys have an amazing rest of the year. If you have clarity, like, go with it. Don't let anything stop you. If you don't have clarity, take time to yourself, because it's better to go slow and far than fast and nowhere. You know?
Know. One. All right.